And with me now from Washington is editor-in-chief of The Hill, Bob Cusack. Okay, Bob, I want to ask you first about this. I guess you'd call it a disendorsement from USA Today. What'd you make of it?
It's a big deal. I mean, this is something that hasn't been done at USA Today. But I also think that Trump can use this because if you look at the endorsements around the country as far as editorial boards and newspapers, they're all going for Hillary Clinton. And the media is not popular and never will be. But so I think Trump can actually use this to an advantage. But overall, with independent voters, this, I think, gives them pause. He's had a rough week, lost the debate, continues to talk about the debate, which I think is a mistake. And so Hillary Clinton is getting a little bit of a bounce in the polls. You
mentioned these endorsements, you know, from Ohio to Texas to New Hampshire, these traditional newspapers that have backed Republican candidates sometimes. It's surprising to see that they haven't this go round, but does it really make a difference with the voters?
You know, I don't think it makes too much of a difference, these endorsements, and sometimes they can backfire. We've seen that in a lot of congressional races where a big newspaper like the Washington Post can endorse somebody and then the voters go another way. But I do think that it shows that Trump has had a rough run, especially when you have Republican-leaning newspapers endorsing her, because also that's been a backlash. There's been a backlash against some of these newspapers. It's a risk for these newspapers, especially in a turbulent media environment, to back Hillary Clinton in a red state. So the fact that they're doing it means they're really going out on a limb and risking losing subscribers.
I want to ask you about Trump. He went on a bit of a rampage on Twitter this morning against Hillary Clinton and former Miss Universe Alicia Machado, who he actually shamed for gaining weight. Clinton mentioned Machado at a debate referring to Trump's treatment of women. Do you think this is a wise campaign move for him to be going after her in this way?
100% no. He's got to move on. The one thing that we're going to remember from this debate, other than Hillary Clinton getting an edge, and it wasn't a knockout punch, but she won on points, is Alicia Machado. I mean, that is the trap that Hillary Clinton laid out for Donald Trump, and he took it, and he continues to talk about it. I think he's got to stop talking about the debate. He's got to stop talking about her. His numbers among women are going down. This is not helping. So I think he needs to turn the page. I think this is going to be addressed again in the VP debate next week. And one thing is that he needs to change the topic, and he's actually playing into Hillary Clinton's hands by continuing to talk about her and criticize her.
So what does he have to gain by doing this? Why is he doing this and going after women when he hasn't done well with women from the start?
Well, Donald Trump's a fighter. There is no doubt about it. I mean, he likes to mix it up. He likes to get the headlines, and that helped him in the primary. But this is a different electorate. And, you know, he looks at the polls all the time. I've interviewed him 4 times, and he talks about the polls every time I've talked to him. So he knows he needs to do better among women, but he has this urge to fight back. And I think in this situation, other situations, it's helped him. In this situation, it's hurting him.
Clinton has actually responded in tweets of her own, writing, "What kind of man stands up all night to smear a woman with lies and conspiracy theories?" By responding in tweets of her own, what audience is she targeting?
Well, she's trying to get under Trump's skin. I think it actually might be a mistake for her to do that because when a candidate is having difficulties like Trump is now, you just get out of the way. You don't need to chime in. Maybe when it dies down, then you tweet out something. She doesn't need to make this a bigger story. It's a huge story right now, especially with Machado talking to the press, to a lot of the press. So I think, you know, a lot of Democrats have told me they want a more positive message from Hillary Clinton, that Donald Trump's negatives are already sky high, that her ads have to be more positive and stop going after Donald Trump because she's done enough of that, or at least do more positive mix with negative. A lot of Democrats think it's too negative, and that's not actually helping her.
We know that Donald Trump launched a new line of attacks against Clinton on the trail. Let's listen to that.
Hillary Clinton is an insider fighting only for herself and for her donors. I'm an outsider fighting for you. Everything you need to know about Hillary Clinton, sometimes referred to as Crooked Hillary, can be understood with a simple but very important phrase: follow the money.
Well, he started using the phrase follow the money. What's the strategy here?
Well, anytime Donald Trump is talking about Hillary Clinton, that's a good strategy. Not talking about a Gold Star family like the Kion family, not talking about Alicia Machado, talking about Hillary Clinton, talking about the Clinton Foundation, the email scandal. That's something that he needs to do every single day, and sometimes he gets sidetracked in these fights. So He is going after her. I was surprised he didn't mention the fact that a Hillary Clinton staffer smashed one of her mobile devices with a hammer. I think that was a big mistake for Donald Trump not to mention that during the debate. So I think every time he's talking about Hillary Clinton, then Republicans who want him to win are thinking, good move. When he gets sidetracked in these tweets about other people, about private citizens or people who are criticizing him that are not running for president, that's a mistake for him.
And Clinton's also been ramping up her attacks on Trump, accusing him of stiffing employees throughout his career. How do you think this is going to play out, particularly with undecided voters, especially in states like Ohio and Pennsylvania?
Well, the two narratives, and I think they're successful narratives for both candidates, is one, Hillary Clinton is saying, I'm fighting for the little guy. I'm fighting for the middle class. Donald Trump is saying, she's the insider. I'm the outsider. And it has shown so far to be the year of the outsider. That's why Donald Trump won the nomination, not Jeb Bush or Marco Rubio. So it's those two narratives of I'm fighting for the little guy, I'm the outsider who can shake up Washington. And the winning message, we'll see what it's going to be. But I expect this race to be tight. But if Donald Trump loses the next two debates, then all bets are off, and maybe she could run away from Donald Trump. But she has not been able to do it, even though she's had a lot more money and spent a lot of money on ads. Donald Trump has refused to go away.
She certainly has spent a lot of money on ads. I want to ask you, though, Trump has sort of danced with this idea of bringing up President Bill Clinton's past indiscretions. After congratulating him for not doing so at the debate, a lot of Republicans are saying, please don't go down that route. How could that backfire?
Well, it could backfire because the Clinton campaign knows it's a distinct possibility. They knew it was a distinct possibility in the first debate that he was going to raise Bill Clinton's infidelities. So I'm sure they have a canned response to it, and maybe it's quite a very good counterpunch to Donald Trump. So I think it's very risky to bring that up. Of course, he's talked about it, but he hasn't talked about it in a debate. I would think that most Republicans think don't go there, at least not explicitly. I just don't think that's going to help him. I think a lot of voters are turned off by the negative politics, and a lot of them know about Bill Clinton's indiscretions, and it could be viewed as a kind of independent voters may not like that at all.
Okay, it's a lot about independent voters. Our Bob Cusack there from Washington. Thank you for joining us, Bob.
Thank you.